The Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray may be at an impasse when it comes to contract negotiations. How this might play out this summer, what can we expect? And the Denver Nuggets bench is going to look radically different than it did last year, but could it be better? And Julian Strawther, he might end up being the key between the Nuggets being worse than last season and maybe taking a leap forward. We're going to talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. So glad that you all are here. I hope you're enjoying your summer and all the great things that are available to you. I hope you're enjoying this Olympic content that we're about to be getting. And then on top of that, Team USA has been kicking off their scrimmages, got some Cooper flag video that looks like he is the truth coming out in next year's draft. Y'all, the Denver Nuggets are at a very interesting point, and we're going to talk about some stuff with Jamal Murray and that bench. But y'all, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, y'all. Let's talk some Jamal Murray. So the report is that Jamal Murray and the Denver Nuggets are currently in a situation where they're debating his contract. Now, if you remember, just a couple of weeks ago, Shams dropped an article or dropped a tweet basically saying that Jamal Murray and the Denver Nuggets, they're currently looking at a 4-year, $209 million extension. A 4-year, $209 million extension. He said, specifically in the language, Denver and star Jamal Murray are working towards a 4-year, $209 million contract extension. So that was the word. But the way that things have kind of taken a turn is that there seem to be some complications on how much guaranteed money is going to be in the contract. Now, we don't have all of the details, but if you can speculate a little bit, some of the framing around the conversation seems to be is that the Nuggets want to get this deal done, but there are some protections they are looking to have on their end before giving Jamal Murray a deal of that magnitude. Now, let's first look at this on the Denver Nuggets side. So for the Denver Nuggets, they're looking at Jamal Murray's recent career, and they're saying in 2020-2021 season, he tears his ACL in December. Jamal Murray misses the playoffs that year, and then he misses the entirety of the next season. So his age 23 and 24 season are basically out of the window because of injuries. And then he played 65 games in 2022-2023, and he played pretty well, averaged 20 points a game. First year back from the ACL injury, 6.2 assists. He shot pretty well from the field, shot 49% from two, 39.8% from three. And then he wins an NBA championship, averages 26, 5, and 7 on the way to winning a championship. And then this year he comes back, he plays 59 games, misses 23 games. Numbers are good, 21.2 points a game, 6.5 assists, and then 4 rebounds a game, shoots 51% from two, 42.8% from three, and 85% from the free throw line. So on the Denver Nuggets end, they're looking at it like this. Jamal Murray is not an all-star. He's not an all-NBA player. He's had an ACL injury. He missed a year and a half because of that, and then he played 65 games, and then he played 59 games. So on their end, they're saying that he wouldn't have met the all-NBA requirement last year. He didn't make an all-star team. And Jamal Murray is a really good basketball player, but the numbers have said that he's a better playoff player than he is a regular season player. So that was the narrative about Jamal. And then this playoffs happens. And Jamal Murray, because of injury, not something that he can necessarily control, not all of it at least. Jamal Murray has some injuries. He has a calf strain in the playoffs. He's already dealing with some lower body issues going into the playoffs, and then versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, if Jamal Murray has an average series, I'm not saying even a good to great series. If Jamal Murray has an average series, 24-6 on good efficiency, they could have won that series. But because of the injuries and because of inconsistent play, the Denver Nuggets are out in 7. They didn't have their second best player in the series averaging more than 19 points a game. I think he averaged 18.8 points per game in that series. So the Nuggets are saying that you have been injured in 3 of the last 4 playoff settings. While you are a very good playoff player, the regular season numbers seem to indicate that you are a step below players like Jalen Brunson, Jaylen Brown, and other, let's say, options of that ilk. If you want to look at some of the number 2 options in the NBA, Kyrie Irving and others, some people will say that Kyrie's a better basketball player. He's obviously a more decorated player. Jamal, you're kind of sitting in this range where you're a great secondary option, but on the other end of that, you're also an injury liability at times, and you have directly adversely affected the team. So if you're unable to stay healthy, will we be able to move off of a deal that has guarantees front and back loaded, and you're making $52 million a year, basically? That's the Denver Nuggets side. Now, if you're Jamal's side, you're saying, well, I'm by far one of the best guards in the league. I could be playing at an even higher level in terms of my numbers, like 25, 5, and 7, but I play next to the best player in the world. I play within the system. I play with with Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. I play with Nikola Jokic. I played with KCP, Brown, Watson. I'm also the one that's staggering with the bench unit at the top of every second and fourth quarter. It's my job to be the primary playmaker at the guard position. It's my job to be the primary creator at the guard position. It's my job to be the primary scorer at the guard position. And I also have to be willing to defend. I'm 6'4.5". I'm one of the best shooters in the league. I shot 42% from 3 last year. I'm one of the best free throw shooters in the league. I'm one of the best clutch closers in the league. I have one of the best mid-range jump shots in the playoffs among any player, let alone guards. So Jamal's argument is saying that I've already led you to a championship, and also prior to this last season, I was one of 7, I think, maybe, players to be averaging 25, 5, and 5 in their playoff career. I think Luka's in that conversation now, obviously, with 50-plus games played. So Jamal Murray has a lot on his side to argue the numbers and say, this is what I'm worth. But the interesting thing about this is that the paperwork, the on-paper stuff, is going to be what is a little tricky about this scenario because, again, let's all imagine, y'all, if Jamal Murray is healthy during this playoff run, are they out in the second round? Do the Mavs have a chance of beating them? Or is Boston beating the Nuggets? Because you already have Jokic, who's going to cook versus everyone, even versus the Wolves. And he had one of his best playoff games. He had one of the best playoff games in NBA history versus the Wolves in Game 5. 40 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists, rather. Shot crazy from the field. If you just have Jamal Murray in Game 1 playing at a normal level, then they're in a different situation. If Jamal Murray may be able to carry better in Game 2 and doesn't miss a bunch of shots to start the game, the situation could have been different. So I think for the Nuggets, they're just saying that if we're getting more high-level consistent play from you, Jamal, we would feel completely comfortable with this contract. So we don't have all the information. We don't know exactly what is going to happen. But, y'all, this is going to be interesting. And maybe after the Olympics resumes, we'll be able to finalize this. It could very well end up being the full maximum on the deal for 4 years, $209 million. Again, if you're a number 2 option in the league on the championship level team, I think you deserve that money. But ultimately, the NBA, they have to make their decision. The front office, the ownership, they have to make their decision. But Jamal Murray can put all this to bed because Jamal Murray can use his last year deal, go make third-team All-NBA and get a Supermax, and then the whole conversation is dead. I was hoping he would do that last year. Didn't get an opportunity to do the injuries. Level of play wasn't good enough consistently, so that's where we are. But, y'all, on the other side, the Denver Nuggets bench is going to look a lot different this next year. So what does that mean for the team, and could they possibly be better? We're going to talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. So, y'all, there are obviously a lot of things that are happening right now in the world. You're in the middle of summer. Some of us are looking for different job opportunities. Some of us are looking for what school we're going to get into if you're trying to get into college. If you're in high school right now, look, There are a lot of things that are on your plate. The world is different. Technology has grown and shrank our world at the same time. We might all be dealing with different kinds of pressure. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy even to envy other people's lives, what you see on Instagram and social media. But here's the thing. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get a 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Y'all, we'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. Y'all, if you're listening to this on the Apple iTunes side, please give us a 5-star review. That way more and more people can get in touch with what we're doing here at Locked On Nuggets. Really helps us on the growth side. And then, y'all, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're continuing to build up the community. Maybe get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of next season. That can definitely be a goal. But, y'all, let's talk about the Denver Nuggets bench. So, reportedly, the Denver Nuggets are still going to add Russell Westbrook. So, if that happens, there are going to be some really interesting things that the Denver Nuggets bench could look at. They signed Dario Saric, as I saw my colleagues got a chance to talk about already. And so, with the Saric signing, they're going to have a floor spacing forward 5 who is going to have some ability to be a good DHO player, a good connected passer. He can find you back door. You can move ball with Dario. And I think he's really going to help players like Russell Westbrook, should he sign. He's going to help players like Peyton Watson, opening up the floor for him. Yo, honestly, even Jamal Murray playing with Dario, it's going to offer a lot of help. And then should Deron Holmes II get real time with this team, then this is going to be another example for them having bigs who are floor spacers, and then obviously having Holmes to be the rim protector in this scenario. Now, the Denver Nuggets bench, it really could be better next year. And the reason it could be better is just simply because they're going to have improvement more than likely at the point guard position, I believe, if Russell Westbrook does sign back. Again, people have different thoughts and feelings about Russell Westbrook, but I just still think Russ is a very valuable player in the right setting in the NBA. And again, if Russell Westbrook is making $4 million or less, if he gets traded and waived by the Clippers, then he's still going to be a viable NBA player, especially for a team like the Nuggets. Last year, Russ, 11 points per game, 4.5 assists, 5 rebounds. Now he shot 45% from the field. You definitely want to see him be better on that end. But if you just look at the overall numbers for Russ, so per 100 possessions, Russ, 24 points per game, 9.9 assists, and 11.1 rebounds. Again, efficiency definitely needs to get better, but having a player that can apply the rim pressure and be a good ball handler in transition and set up people in the half court, I think it's going to be really important. And then on the other end of this, y'all, Julian Strawther, who we're going to talk about here in the third segment, especially because he's going to be a key to this. Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, Dario, Deron Holmes, Vlatko Cancar. And then, we'll see what happens with Zeke Naji, if his contract and him are still going to be on the books. But Hunter Tyson, if Jalen Pickett gets real time next year, there are going to be players that have some opportunities with this team. But it's going to be about how can they consistently rise to the occasion, and can Dario and Holmes and Julian Strawther provide enough spacing for Peyton Watson and Russell Westbrook to be able to do what they need to do. Because Peyton, that was his real first year of playing. That was basically his rookie year. There are really some strides that Peyton could make. Again, if you watched him in transition, he was very good. You watched him as a finisher, very good. A lob threat, very good. Peyton started developing a mid-range shot. If Peyton can develop a good transition game, a good spot-up 3 game, and a good turnaround game with his mid-range, you're cooking. Now this is not a conversation around Peyton. Is completely different. Because if he can be an offensive plus, really in any way, then again, the Nuggets are just going to be in a much different position because he is an argument for the best defender on his team. And now that KCP's gone, he might legit be the best defender on the team. So having Peyton Watson, I think, another year in his third NBA year, second full year, and then Christian Brown transitions into the starters, at least for the start of the season. Julian Strawther, he stays healthy, takes a leap, because you've got to remember he had some games last year. He was incredible. You add these things in, and then you add the fact that Dario's going to be there, and then Holmes. I think they can do some really special things, y'all. Well, y'all, segment 3, I want to talk about Julian Strawther specifically, because I think there are some things that he can really add to this roster that's going to make the Denver Nuggets a dangerous team. We'll talk about all that and more in the third segment here at Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. We'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. What's going on? Welcome to the final segment here at Locked On Nugget. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day, Julian Strawther. Julian Strawther. Now, here's the thing. If you remember Julian out of Gonzaga, 29th overall pick in the first round, 6'7", true shooting guard, can play small forward. Julian Strawther is going to have the opportunity to really take a true leap. The thing about Julian has the offensive punch that can take the Nuggets to a different level should he be able to arrive as a scorer next year. Now, that might be a lot to ask. But Julian last year, Michael Malone mentioned that he ran almost more plays for Julian than he almost did Jamal and Jokic, than anybody but Jamal and Jokic last year. Julian Strawther is a sniper with a very quick release. He's good in transition. He's good in the half court. He had a little bit of dribble, headsy tween to his game. He hit some step backs. Julian can get downhill and be able to pop a floater. And then on top of that, he's shown some flashes defensively. I don't know if y'all remember the Atlanta Hawks game, but Julian versus the Atlanta Hawks had a really good game last year. And then I also want to say versus the Hawks, I think he had 5 steals. He did. He had 5 steals in that game versus the Hawks. And then if you remember his overall numbers in that game, Julian was 8 of 16 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3, 5 steals, 22 points, 2 assists. Julian is not a playmaker. He's not going to do that, at least at this point in his career. But what Julian can provide is some immediate, tangible scoring, to where if the Nuggets are really in a rut and Christian Brown and that spacing is just not good enough, look, hey, Julian, we're going to use your size. We're going to use your ability to chase, and we're going to need you to be the primary defender next to Jamal. Maybe it's not going to be perfect, but we just can't live with Christian because he's having a bad shooting day. Look, Jamal Murray, Julian Strawther, and then having Michael Porter Jr., that's 3 elite potential shooters. MPJ and Jamal are already elite shooters. But adding Julian into that, I think it's going to offer them a lot of versatility. And then obviously Aaron Gordon. And then even with the second unit, the thing that's going to make Russell Westbrook and Peyton pliable is having Deron Holmes hit threes, having Sarge be able to hit threes, and then having Julian being willing to take threes. And I really think that a lot of the Nuggets' rise towards their ceiling is going to largely be contingent on how much Julian Strawther is able to improve as a decision maker and consistency as a scorer. Because a part of the issue when you're young is being able to consistently find your way. Consistently find your way and consistently be able to commit to play the right kind of basketball consistently. Now, that's not something that you control because you're being selfish. It's just a simple thing as look, I'm figuring out the NBA game. Last year, he averaged 4.5 points a game, 1.2 rebounds, 0.9 assists. He shot 46% effective field goal percentage, 48.8% from 2. That needs to be better. 29.7% from 3 on 3 attempts a game. That needs to be better. But the thing is, it probably will be better, at least at the three-point shooter, because you're getting used to the NBA line. You're getting used to playing at the NBA speed. You're getting used to being on an NBA team. You're getting used to having to be around other NBA athletes. All that stuff affects your ability to shoot and make the shot consistently. So I really, truly think that Julian getting another offseason in this system, getting another year under his belt, having the other players to be able to encourage him, and then even now, if Russell Westbrook is there, Sarge is there, more veterans to be able to help him understand court placement, where he needs to be, where his feet and hands need to be, where he needs to relocate when he's getting off of the ball, where he needs to be able to handle business. Like, Julian's going to have a lot of really interesting opportunities in front of him, and I'm really excited to see how the Denver Nuggets allow for him to flourish. Because, again, if Julian is, let's just say, imaginary world, Julian gets 12 points a game next year, shooting 41% from three on attempts, and he can hit his free throw shots. Last year he shot 71% from the free throw line. With Julian's ability to shoot the ball, it should be 41 and 80% from the free throw line, 41% from three, 80% from the free throw line. And then, we'll see where we'll go from here. I think if Julian's able to do that, the Nuggets are cooking with gas, because now it's like they have really, truly formidable offensive options offensively on the starter unit, but now adding in a team where you have a second-year player on a rookie contract that's a legitimate, true scorer next to Jokic, Murray, MPJ, and Gordon. So, we'll find out, man. I think this is going to be a really big year from Julian Strawther. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. How do you feel about Jamal Murray's current contract situation? Do you think the Denver Nuggets bench will be better? How do you think Julian Strawther is going to fit in this rotation? And how does he possibly make them better this next year? Y'all, this is your boy Swiper, Locked On Nuggets. See y'all on the other side.